No, we got it working.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Again, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. We're going to do the service over here. So I'm going to ask you to kind of face that in a wonderful way. Just move your grouping a little bit closer to the gravesite. I'm going to ask the pallbearers please to join me in the rear of the coach.
Put this on, I can't see. I get fogged up. It's a real problem. Can't see anything.
the same way you came on.
Beytin Adonai, Uvegitomi, Imimini Bolemut, יגל כבודי, אף בשרי ישכון לבטח. כי לא תעזוב נפשי לשאול, לא תיתן חסידך לראות שחת. תודיעני אורח חיים, שבע שמחות את פניך, נעימות ימינך נצח.
Thank you all for being here. 104, almost 105 years. It's almost impossible to imagine. And yet there is nothing that this family would not give and those that New Florence wouldn't give to have another moment, another minute, let alone another 104, 105 years. I'm not sure Florence would have given that. It wasn't so easy, these last bits. But boy, what a remarkable life and what a remarkable woman. And a testament to that is all of you. You live 104, 105 years, you outlive a lot of your friends. The only way you have so many show up at your funeral is if you make new friends along the way. And boy, did she. I don't remember a lot about the sermons that my rabbi, Rabbi Jerry Reiskin of Sholom, gave when I was a child, but I remember one. And I probably remember it because every rabbi has given this sermon. And it's the sermon about the dash on the headstone of Matzeva, between the dates, between the date you're born and the date you die. And Rabbi Reiskin's sermon and every rabbi's sermon about this very same thing is that the dash is the same length, depending on the typesetter, as everybody else. It doesn't indicate 104 years, or 40 years, God forbid, or 80 years, or 120 years. It's just a dash. But how we fill that line, how we fill in the spots, the dots along that dash, that's really the measure of a life. One of those measurements are the people that we come to know. The other is the legacy that we leave behind in the memory and the lasting impressions that we've made, the contributions that we made to community. Florence continues to leave behind a legacy that will far outlive her 104, 105 years. Because it's in each of us, because it's in our community and our synagogue, it's in our music, it's in our way we congregate and gather, the way we see each other and treat each other. So we celebrate a life today. We thank God for the blessing of time. What a great blessing of time we were given. And we appreciate every single moment, every dot along that line that we were so privileged in our relatively short lifeline to have spent so much of it, all of it, with her from the moment we came to know her. I wanted to share one psalm with you before Rabbi Bregman and Cantor Gutman share another. Adonai mi yagur bochalecha mi yishkan bahar kodshecha. Adonai, who may abide in your house, who may dwell in your holy mountain. Listen to the description of such a person that merits such a reward as living on in memory and in heaven. Those who are upright, who do justly, who speak the truth within their hearts, who do not slander others or wrong them or bring shame upon them, who scorn the lawless, but honor those who revere God, who give their word and come what may, do not retract it, who do not exploit others, who do not take bribes. Those who live in this way shall never be shaken, but dwell on God's holy mountain. Amen.
Amen.
The 23rd Psalm is on the inside of your handout. Rabbi Bregman and Cantor Gutman are going to chant it in Hebrew and read it in English.
Mizmor leDavid,
This Psalm of David.
Adonai Ra'i lo Basar.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
Bino Deshayar Betseni.
He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Amen.
They're the prayers that are written in our Siddur, those Psalms of David. Traditional words that are meant to provide comfort. And then there's the prayers that are written inside of our hearts. Tefilat Shebelev, the prayer of the heart that is maybe more expressive, more able to articulate than anyone ever could, because these prayers come from a relationship with Florence. In our tradition, prayers are stories. Prayers are memories. Prayers are songs. So, though we don't have time for everyone to speak, some members of the family are going to share some memories and stories now. And then tonight and tomorrow and Thursday night during the Shiva on Zoom, others will have an opportunity, if you'd like, to share a story or a memory as well. But first, Gordon and Joyce.
Most of us go through life with one mom, but I was blessed with four extraordinary mothers, each one imparting their love in their own unique and miraculous way. There was my birth mother, Helen, her mother or my maternal grandmother, Nina Goldstein, my stepmom, Joy, and the mother I knew for the longest time, Florence Beytin. Florence imparted her love to us by teaching. Not the way we traditionally think of teachers in front of a classroom at the board, but teaching by osmosis, so that we, as students, were actually learning while observing her live her life. It was effortless, because seeing this woman living her life, I started copying her techniques. I'm a slow learner, but many of her lessons stuck, and that's a great gift of having received. Thank you, Florence. Joyce and I met a little over 50 years ago while attending the Eastman School of Music in Rochester, New York. After dating for a couple months, Joyce suggested a trip to South Fallsburg, New York. The big city boy from Toronto goes to the upstate shtetl. Within a few seconds of meeting the Beytins in the breezeway of their home, I was welcomed and never looked back. And I just have to tell you that that was the greatest decision of my life at that point, because Ever since then, I've been on the right track. And it was only because the Beytin family took me in and showered me with love. There was this comfortable feeling of acceptance combined with love and family closeness. From that moment on, Florence became mom to me and I became her son. What an honor. Every one of us here today at the cemetery or online had their own unique and secret connection with Florence. She had a way of making everyone she encountered feel like the most special person in the room. She made us feel good about ourselves because she felt good about herself. Before you knew it, you were telling her some of the most intimate details of your personal life. She listened and listened. She was a great listener. And because of that, we became better persons. Florence and her husband Sam, they were a class act, through and through. Florence loved books, reading for hours every day. As her eyesight faded over the years, the Vancouver Public Library came to her rescue with audiobooks delivered by the dozens monthly from the Accessible Services Department. Plug. This is one of the charities we are encouraging all to donate to in Florence's memory. Playing bridge and cards was another passion. Watching Joyce and Florence play double solitaire was an incredible experience. They waged war on that table, hilariously shouting and laughing as they pummeled their hands, trying to get the cards down onto the table first. Florence's competitive side was evident there. She loved her food. Most of her great recipes have become our family traditions. She was always such a lady with impeccable manners, especially at social occasions and dinners. I loved kibitzing with her about her enormous appetite. Florence always would take the smallest portions so she could give the impressions of being a dainty lady. But then she would ask for seconds, wherein I would chime in that she ate like a lumberjack, usually bringing about the expected scowl. We had our own little jabs that became traditions over the years, but she had to save room for dessert, the highlight of the meal. Sugar was a true weakness, and boy, did I give it to her. But she was unrepentant. She loved her sugary treats, and nothing I said was going to change it. We would find her candy squirreled away in pockets, drawers, bags. As a matter of fact, we may wish to include some for her final resting place. But to sum things up, she made us better. Think back to before and after you met Florence, and you will agree, you're a better person today because of her. She was our best teacher for life.
Some of my earliest memories are waking up in the mornings, sharing my sister's room, when my grandparents would be visiting here in Vancouver, and I'd walk over to my bedroom where they would be sleeping, and they'd be waking up. We'd crawl into bed with them, and my grandmother would lead us in many rounds of childhood songs. I know my sister has taught many of these songs to my niece, keeping them in our family. She helped teach me to celebrate life, to love family and friends, to laugh, to sing, to keep an open mind, to be curious, to ask loved ones the important questions, to always be open to new experiences and changes in the world, long after most her age would be able to. She taught us how to spend an entire life being both a learner and a teacher. These are the secrets of staying young that she was teaching us. After she moved here to Vancouver, she really did become the nucleus of our extended family and helped to bring so many others here to visit. I know that they would be here with us if they could be. I know many of you are out there right now watching and listening from afar, but you're here in spirit with us to help us say goodbye. Thank you all for being here with us.
Mark, who I hope is watching online right now, wrote a letter about his mom and asked me to read it for him. For my mom. This is not a sad occasion, rather a celebration of life, a life well lived. Mom had a positive effect on everyone who came into contact with her. Her niece, Jerry Reinhardt, wrote, "She was beautiful inside and out. I'm not sure your mom really knew that." As Mom was approaching her 100th birthday, granddaughter Rebecca Cherry videoed an oral history. Thanks to Rebecca, I will share with you the essence of my mom in her own words. About living, Mom said, "Just having a positive attitude about life and making close friends so you will always have some support around you is very important to your well-being. If you think positively and try to enjoy your life and be kind to other people, you get all this back in return. And I think that I've been very fortunate in that I have a lot of friends, and they are warm and loving, and lots of people tell me they love me, and I don't really know why. But I guess there's something in my personality that is positive. And so I've enjoyed life and my friends. It's been great." As Rebecca was talking to Mom, she asked if there was a period of life over the last 100 years that she would like to go back and visit. Mom responded, "Yes. I'd like to go back and visit the time my children were born. I'd like to go back to having babies and watching them develop. It's the biggest miracle in life. I'm very happy that I still maintain this wonderful relationship I have with my two children. And yes, I think I feel very lucky to have experienced the life that I have." When Rebecca queried, "What's the best part of living to 100?" Mom responded, "You get to see your children and your grandchildren grow into beautiful people, having children of their own. And I just like being with my family and just being close to people I love." Mom and I talked almost every night, and Abby often joined in those conversations. We discussed books, politics, finances, and exchange rates, and always family. Mom often bragged about Abby and Gordon and counted them as her own children, and they thought of her as their mom. She always looked forward to our visits so Abby, her personal shopper, could take her on a shopping spree. I bragged about Mom every day. I feel so lucky to be her son. She will always be with me. Mark.
What a lucky family we are. I have had years to think about what I was going to say at this very moment. And in the past 8 months, I've had ample time to sit and ruminate over Mom's declining health. But when it came time to write this, I was dumbfounded. For you see, Mom over the past 25 years has repeatedly said, "How much longer can I possibly live?" But I, on the other hand, thought she would live forever. I cannot imagine my life without my mother. My mother has been described by many of you as a vivacious woman, warm with an inviting smile, possessing an unmatched sense of humor and a charming personality, always impeccably dressed and coiffed, extraordinary, a matriarch, a woman of valor, loving, kind, and wise. These are all wonderful attributes to describe Mom. Her charm and wisdom endeared her to others, so she easily made friends when life took her on new adventures. I will always remember what she taught me when I was a little girl, and she reminded me about these things during my adult life. It's not so important how smart you are. It's more important who you are and how you relate to other people. That is the measure of a successful life. Always put yourself in the other person's shoes, and you will know what the right thing is to do. It's a good thing I was a teacher and can talk over that. Florence was truly a remarkable woman, having lived just 17 days shy of her 105th birthday, leaving us with wonderful memories of her numerous dirty jokes, her advice and propensity to be a great listener, the sparkle in her eye, her love for family and friends, and her zest for life. I always told her physicians not to underestimate her ability to fight back from an injury because she was tenacious and sure to surprise them. She lived her life that way right until the very end. She loved her family beyond measure and openly shared her feelings about us with all her friends, quelling over our successes in life and our devotion to her. She believed you get back more than you give in life and lived by this maxim, and that's why you are all here. On one hand, there are casualties of the COVID virus. Our out-of-town family could not be here to share Mom's last days and to be with us for the funeral, which is especially painful for her grandchildren and for my brother Mark and my sister-in-law Abby, who spoke to Mom almost every day up until the last 2 weeks, when Mom could no longer carry on a conversation over the phone. But there is always the other hand. And that was due to the coronavirus. I was afforded the opportunity to spend the majority of my time over the past 8 months with my mother and support her during the recovery period from her fall and as her health declined. There wasn't anything more important than being with Mom during this time, and she truly appreciated my dedication. I want to take this opportunity to thank the wonderful care aides at the Weinberg Residence and the Louis Breyer Home and Hospital, and express my unending gratitude to Sheila, Edith is here, and Maria, her companions, for the last 8 months who took such loving care of this kind, compassionate, storytelling, singer, and corrector of grammar, whom they grew to love, Florence Beytin. Mom wouldn't have been at all happy with today's weather. I can just hear her complaining that it's too cold for her to be outside. But I want to leave you with my mother's most memorable words, her secrets to her long life. And I know you've heard them before. They bear repeating. When first asked what her secrets were by a woman in the bank when she was setting up her account when first moving to Vancouver, she was caught off guard. So she quickly came up with no smoking, no drinking, no sex. I I'm just kidding about the sex, she said. Sex is good for you. The woman replied she didn't care about the sex, but she wasn't giving up the drinking. My mother decided then that she had to give it some serious thought. These are her irrefutable secrets to a long life. First, always look for the silver lining. It will help you get through any difficult situation. Her example was that her eyesight was failing, and now when she looked into the mirror, she looked pretty good. Secondly, avoid stress. It's a killer. That's why she didn't travel anymore, because her final trip was riddled with canceled flights and an overstay in a hotel. Too stressful. The final secret. Have friends who are younger than you. It keeps you young. In her case, that was everyone. Our friends are her friends, and she reveled in those connections. And now I just want to share with you my mother's final stab at humor. It had become a hardship for her to communicate, and I had come to visit. After a few minutes of my talking to her, I asked, "Mom, do you know who I am?" She slowly opened her eyes and said, "What's the matter? Don't you know who you are?" Her great blessing for us all is that she helped us to learn who we really are. She was truly an inspiration to us all. I will miss her terribly. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Joyce, and thank you, Gord, and Avi, and Mark. And of course, we can't sum up a life in a few moments, especially a life that bordered on 105 years. But you gave us the ikar, the essence, truly, of this incredible individual. Yes, she was the head of the grammar police, a very tenacious reader, a incredibly competitive bridge player, in golf. And I must say that for me, when I think of your mom, yes, those things are in the background. But in the foreground for me was the congregant who would come in before services and tell me dirty jokes before I would have to go out and conduct services. I will never forget her, and every time I see a chassid or a priest in a black suit, boy, does she come to mind. You'll have to look that one up. Yes, you and all of us were tremendously fortunate. But so was she. In having the family and having the children. And I talk in particular now about her 4 children, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren. That you, Mark and Abby, were there as you could be on the phone. And if we're going to talk about an Eshed Chayil, I don't think we have to look any further than to Joyce, the incredible woman of valor who was there day in and day out. Not because you had to be, but because you wanted to be. Truly, she was your friend, your confidant. And maybe the reason she didn't make it to 105 is that when we take a look at the number 104, we have in our tradition something called gematria, in which each of the Hebrew letters account for a certain numerical value. And when you look up 104, there are different words that appear from the Torah, from the Bible, but there was this one that just stood out. The numerical value for the word to teach in Hebrew, lelamed, is 104. You all talk about this incredible teacher. And for 104 years she was there learning how, or then truly expressing how to teach. What a lesson. So we thank you. We thank you for sharing your mom, your grandmother, your great-grandmother with us here in the Lower Mainland. We are tremendously appreciative of having this individual. May she forever be at peace. And may you continue. You see, your dad died around Simchat Torah, and from that, in honor of him, Joyce started reading the Torah on Simchat Torah, which then would spill over also unto the High Holy Days. Simchat Torah is that in which we say goodbye and then we say hello. We end the Torah and then immediately we start again. So appropriate today. While physically we are saying goodbye, we are also saying, in your particular case, hello to a new reality. And that will be difficult, but it is the reality in which you will continue to communicate, but in a different way, day in and day out. As we say goodbye, we are truly blessed, and may you be blessed with this new beginning as well. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Paul.
There are two prayers now that need to be said. One is El Malei Rachamim, a prayer for Florence's soul, that it might be escorted Tachat Kentei HaShekhinah, under the wings of God's presence. And then there's a prayer for all of us, the Mourner's Kaddish, which Rabbi Brown will introduce and lead. That's not a prayer for Florence, but for those that are left behind, for those that are in mourning, that we might find comfort in each other and find comfort in our faith. Cantor Gutman's going to chant El Malei, and then I'll read the translation for
you. El Malei Rachamim, Shochein B'Meromin, Hametzei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShekhinah, B'Mahalot Kedoshim U'Tahorin, Kezohar Harakia Mazhirin, Et Nishmat Fruma Bat Avraham V'Fredel, Shehol Lecho Leolamim, Began Eden Tehei Menuchato, Honorable Harachamim, Hastirecha B'Seiter Kinofecha Leolamim, Uhutzor B'Tzaror HaChayim Et Nishmato, Adonai Hu Nachalato, B'Tanuach B'Shalom Al Mishkaba B'Nomar Amen.
Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Florence, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence in the shadow of your wings. Let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And we say together, Amen.
We prepare now to recite these words of Kaddish. Begin with a poem on the second page of your handout. When I die, you need to weep. Cry for someone walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around others and give them what you need from me. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands and souls touch souls. You can love me most by sharing your joys, multiplying your good deeds. You can love me most by letting me live in your eyes and not in your mind. And when you say Kaddish for me, remember what our Torah teaches. Love doesn't die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. I invite all who mourn and those who are gathered to join in these words of Kaddish.
Amen. Amen. Yeh Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Olamei Omaya. Richu. Amen. Amen.
May Florence's memory always be a blessing. Say together.
Amen.
So, friends, it's now part of our custom to help to do this last act of chesed, of loving kindness for Florence as we participate in her burial, and invite all prepare to do so to help us build her grave. I'm going to ask Joyce and Gordon and Avi to do the first shovels. Shovels, so all who are able to help better to do so.
just remind everyone that the shovel is a high-touch surface, so please don't touch your face after touching it, and there's Lysol wipes if you would like them for the shovel or your hand.
Thank you, Art. Good to see you, Marty. Good to see you. How's Darcy? She's up and about already. The appendix hadn't burst, right? It just was inflamed. Somebody, I know. Oh, Babbins. Dylan's off from Babbins. We do that all the time. Just one gave them.
I'm really new.
So friends, thank you for your help. As we prepare now to leave the cemetery, it is the custom to form 2 rows facing one another that the family can walk through your embrace. So if you would make 2 lines on the main road up there.